All right, it's 8:19 here, Portland Sports Leader. Don't you forget it. We are live from the shadows of the historic Fremont Bridge. You can check us out on YouTube at 1080 AM The Fan.
And if you're corporate or IT or anybody, no, Patrick doesn't have a bowl of honeydew open in the studio with a croissant. Bro.
I'm Parisian now, man.
Dude, get that out in the... Did you not see the ants we had like a month and a half ago?
No, dude, I don't work here.
I just showed the whole camera view, so yeah, sorry. You're exposed.
That's all right.
I hope the honeydew is worth it.
Dude, I don't work here. Nobody's listening anyway.
It's probably true.
Swag just sent out the sheet that the Rangers won the World Series, so here's programming for the next week that he probably wrote up 2 days ago and just click send.
Look at that. Former Mariners pitcher Chris Young, Rangers GM.
There you go. That's the tall
win.
guy.
He's big, dude.
We were wondering who this was with the trophy.
6'10" Chris Young. That's who.
You know, nothing.
6'10"?
He's like the second tallest or tied for the second tallest player. Ever.
Nothing. And I tell
Bigs,
you,
yeah.
nothing makes me happier after seeing a championship be sealed by guys working their ass off on the field to see the trophy be given to the guys that did absolutely nothing.
Absolutely not. Some
on
old
the field the entire season long.
That guy struggled harder to hold that trophy than Lou Gehrig did, and he had a disease named after him.
Well,
Thank God they just gave it to a dude that was in a uniform.
Bochy's
this
like,
season.
oh, I remember this
he
thing.
didn't do nothing. He had the balls to go to management and say, "Hey, I want to get
This
Simeon.
is
I wanna
former
get Simeon."
Mariner justification here. He's trying
That
to.
has nothing to do with that.
I know.
It's just saying that a
I'm
GM's
playing.
job is hard.
I would love it if he got on the air and said, I'd just like to thank former President George W. Bush for being an idiot and selling this team because I got a ring.
Oh, that'd be a McGregor move right there, where I'd like to thank my haters for absolutely nothing, or I'd like to apologize for absolutely
Then
nothing.
you got to throw Nolan Ryan in that too. It's like thanks also for former pitcher and Hall of Famer Nolan Ryan.
What did he do for this franchise?
He was the president after Bush sold it. He was the president for what, half a decade to a decade, and absolutely ran.
Did
him
he
into
ever
the-
put up-
Cultivating steroid users, am I right?
Did he ever put on
Am
the
I
uniform?
right?
Huh? Oh wait. Actually, do you think Nolan Ryan could have put in an inning or two for this?
Yes.
I mean,
Without a
definitely in relief if they're up 10-1.
Can he still throw like 80 miles an hour?
I wouldn't fight him.
How old is Nolan Ryan?
He's got to be close to 80.
80.
70, 75. That's my guess.
I'm gonna go
I
under.
wouldn't fight him. You're going to go under 75?
I mean,
I'm
he's
going to
not-
go under 75.
Yeah, I'm going like
Nolan
68.
Ryan.
You know you have computers in front of you, right?
76. He was born in
Damn.
1947. See? Told
In
you
your
guys.
face, Joe. I told you were wrong.
Damn,
getting
model
towards
than I
80, man.
thought.
The Texas Rangers are the 2023 World Series champions as they accept their trophy. Bruce Bochy is on the podium right now, lifting
That
his
son of a bitch, Bochy.
his fourth World Series title
What a turd.
in the last 15 years, 25 years, whatever it is. I don't even remember. 15 years. That's absolutely amazing. And then right now they're about to hand over the World Series MVP.
Corey, you thrilled our fans.
And we'll just leave it at that. And I would argue that Corey Seager is probably the foundation of this team. They signed Marcus Semien before Corey. They had Semien for a year before they had Corey Seager. But I feel like Corey Seager won the World Series MVP for the Dodgers in 2020. And then became a free agent, and for some reason the Dodgers didn't think. I don't know if they didn't want to pay
They gave all the
him.
money to your boy, Mookie, and Freddie.
And I like those guys, and Freddie came later, but it was strange to me because I felt like this is a kid who plays shortstop, who's got superstar written all over him. Yeah, shortstops are expensive, but the Dodgers have a great farm system. They know what they're doing. Why wouldn't you invest in this guy? They bring in Machado, they bring in Trey Turner, and they lose all those guys. And now here's Corey Seager standing on the podium accepting the World Series MVP trophy for a second time in his career. And I think that's a lot where Texas started here. They found their foundation, and they moved on from that and found guys like Adolis Garcia, who was on a scrap heap. Guys like Josh Young and Jonah Heim, and Semien was a little bit of a struggle, but he was able to make it happen. And I think this is one of the few cases where a team can swing as a nobody and get a somebody and make that the cornerstone. Texas did this. Let's not forget, Texas did this in 2001 with Alex Rodriguez. They took a swing at A-Rod and said, you're going to be our cornerstone, and it blew up in their face because they didn't have pitching, they couldn't build around it, they didn't have management. They built their team around this guy, and it's paying off. All it took was Bochy to put him over the edge, but this kid still came in. If Shohei Ohtani doesn't play baseball, Corey Seager is the American League MVP this year. Go look at his stats. Nobody else touches him. The problem is well, Shohei Ohtani plays baseball, so he's going to win the MVP. And that's, Joe, you wanted to start about how we got here. And I think we got here from Corey Seager.
Yeah, I mean, Corey Seager and just this offense in general, he is the epitome of this team because, you mentioned a few of the guys, but I think that's kind of starts with 5 names on this offense in total. Corey Seager, your leader, obviously, but Marcus Semien, what a great year it was for him. Adolis Garcia, been insane the last 3 years for the Rangers. He's been amazing for them, and I felt like this was finally the year he got his due credit. And it sucks that he couldn't finish out the series, but he definitely made an impact. That's for sure. And then Josh Young, Jonah Heim, this team.
Evan Carter.
Yeah, dude.
Shout out Evan Carter.
He annoys me because he killed the Orioles in that first series to start, and I'm like, yeah, that's classic. Some dude I hadn't heard of all year for the Rangers is now just going to be a stud for them. Fantastic.
In his 45th game, he's a World Series champ. You know something funny about Evan Carter? I heard this the other day on MLB Network. When he first came to the bigs, when they were in the World Series, they were right before the World Series. They had a press day. They were asking him, who's the player you looked up to when you were coming up? And he said, Christian Yelich. And so they instantly called Christian Yelich and said, hey, this kid thinks you're
interesting choice.
He's your inspiration. Christian Yelich said, don't ever say that to me again because now I'm old. But
Yeah,
he said that's his player comp. Is they said as he was growing up, his player comp was Christian Yelich. And look at his body type. Look at the way he plays. Solid defensive player, great contact hitter. He's Christian Yelich without being terrible like Christian Yelich.
Yeah, but this Rangers team from Series 1 of the year, omitting that kind of weird random streak that they had where they were losing a bunch of games. Yeah, Corey Seager has been the constant and almost seems like he flew under the radar this year. Like you said, MVP numbers, but when you got a guy like Shohei doing what he's doing, it takes a lot of attention from everyone else. And I think with the Rangers, the problem with them was, I said it a few weeks ago, it was like, dude, you guys kind of have to prove it. You're one of the least clutch teams. Your bullpen is one of the worst in the league, regardless of how good you are. You depend on putting up a lot of runs and then having that distance in front of the other team where you don't have to worry about your bullpen. This entire postseason run changed all of that.
Without a doubt.
They were able to do all of it. They were able to beat you by 10 runs. They were able to beat you 1-0 like they did tonight.
11-0 on the road.
They were able to come back and beat you in game 1, which we'll talk about it. This entire series, but game 1 to me, what happens if Arizona takes that one?
Right.
What the series looks like. Is it 4-2? Is it a formality? I don't know, but talk about a momentum swing just in that game alone.
And we're definitely going to break down that game because that's one of the best World Series games I ever saw. But I remember this team, they started hot, and we sat here in front of these microphones saying, this team is good. We see it. We're not quite believers, but we see it. And then, boom, DeGrom goes down and was like, well, see you later.
Well, and we worried about the pitching staff, if they were going to be able to make up for it, but our boy, he didn't let us down. Mikey Maddox.
Yeah, Mike Maddox.
It's a joke, but seriously, that pitching
play
staff
fun.
the entire year, DeGrom is a complete afterthought on this Rangers team this year.
Right, and then you trade at the deadline, you go and you swing for the fence and you get Max Scherzer, and he's out after 2 innings.
Listen,
for
he had good
injuries.
moments, but I would say that the inconsistent, the injury moments, the bad moments, those appeared more often in this Texas run than not.
Let's hope Acuna's brother is not a monster. Okay, let's just hope that. But they weathered the DeGrom storm. They weathered the Max Scherzer storm. Jordan Montgomery, the Cardinals gave up on him. And they sent him, where did he start? He started for the Cubs.
Yankees.
He started the Cubs. The Cubs gave up on him. He went to the Yanks. The Yanks gave up on him. He went to the Cardinals. They gave up on him. Now he's in Texas, and he's the best pitcher of the postseason.
Well, actually, that might go to Eovaldi because I think he tied either first or second most postseason wins in a single postseason run with 5.
And that's where I'm going next. Nathan Eovaldi, who was great in Tampa, gets traded to Boston, is the most integral arm in Boston winning the World Series in 2018. And here he is with Texas in 2023 being maybe not the integral arm, because I think Jordan Montgomery deserves a lot of it, plus some of that bullpen, but he is an integral arm in winning this World Series. And Joe, if I told you 6 months ago that Jordan Montgomery and Nathan Eovaldi are the reason the Rangers are in the World Series, let alone winning it, you're laughing. You're going to laugh my face off. You're going to absolutely laugh my face off. And I'll tell you, Corey's been great. Garcia in the series previous was great. The clutch hitting from Evan Carter, the Jonah Heim home runs when they were clutch, when they were needed. Like, this team pulled together, but I don't know if they're here without Eovaldi and Montgomery, and I don't think anybody would believe that, especially if I told you the guys on their roster have last names named DeGrom and Scherzer.
Yes, and just to make sure I'm correct in what I'm saying, I always get Jordan Montgomery and Mike Montgomery mixed up. That's why I said he was with the Cubs.
Mike
Another
Montgomery?
former Mariner.
Yeah.
Oh, I was thinking of the old coach of Cal basketball.
Oh, way back.
Sorry, Pac-12 kid at heart.
Dude, Pac-12 college basketball. kid.
R.I.P..
I'm surprised. I mean, when does Wazoo basketball tip off?
Should be soon.
I'm
think,
surprised you didn't have the date like ready to go.
I know. I'm almost there. Now that baseball's over, I'm about to get into college
I
basketball.
know Oregon, I believe, plays Monday or Tuesday, so
Oh,
it's got to be
nice.
right around.
Yeah,
when-
now that baseball's over, I'm nearing towards my college basketball.
I haven't looked at anything about my Pitt Panthers this year, but
I don't think it's gonna be good, Joe.
The
no,
in-season
what? It was a
NBA
great year
tournament
last
this
year. We
week.
got a rebound. Come on. What the? Stop.
But that's kind of how.
Son of a bitch! Why? Tell me why!
But that's how Texas got here. So let's shift and talk about how they played in the World Series. Let's get into Game 1. The most pivotal part of anything in a World Series is how you're going to start. And I'll tell you what, the Game 1 in this World Series, not only maybe one of the best Game 1s I've ever seen in my life, but maybe one of the best games of baseball I've ever seen in my life. Let's dive into that next. Well, this is the Hot Corner, Portland Sports Leader. But first, we'll do Schultze with sports.
Now, from the Spirit Mountain Casino Sports Desk, a Sports Center update on 1080 The Fan.
This update is brought to you by X Golf. It's indoor golf season. Check out X Golf in Vancouver or Tualatin, the home of indoor golf, online at xgolfpnw.com.
Coming up in the second hour, we'll dive into the Arizona Diamondbacks. I love that Shakedown Street just played because a lot of the commercial peeps on sports these days love playing Grateful Dead music as it rolls into a commercial break. So I kind of like that. I've heard a bunch of Dead music in the World Series, so that's great.
Fairly sure Grateful Dead is one of those that like you actually don't have to have the rights for some of their music, anyways. Like there's good old copyrights.
If you're gonna ask anybody, it's this guy. I don't know how they're.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, they don't care. Well, the
Yeah.
studio stuff, the record
It's
execs
all
care,
vibes, man.
but it's all vibes, man.
It's all vibes, brother.
Yeah, I read a good quote from Jerry. He was like, well, yeah, I love playing high. But, now there's so many people that come, and there's a professionalism. Like, I can't have a clunker of a show because I'm too
You
stoned.
sound like Kevin Durant. I'm actually high right now. All right.
Well, according to YouTube and Brandon Sprague, I'm stoned all the time. So,
Listen, it
whatever
was
you
just
want.
it was a bad still frame. Okay, I probably didn't take the most flattering picture, but we were both smiling.
Yeah,
and
my eyes are squinty, and I'm kind of fat. That doesn't mean I'm stoned all the time.
You are eating honeydew in a croissant. That's
Dude,
like
honeydew melon and croissants are bomb.
As
What
somebody,
do you want?
as someone with-
together.
those do
Yeah,
sound like a good
kind of.
combo.
Yeah, man.
No,
You
Joe,
don't eat fruit in the morning for breakfast?
Joe, you would know nothing about this. As
Salt
somebody
Honey
with very
Crisp.
chubby cheeks, and whenever you smile, yeah, it kind of makes the eyes go a little more, slit, like you're stoned. Like it's
My
like
smile gets a little
oh.
squinty sometimes.
I'm looking at the YouTube feed. I definitely look super stoned.
Oh yeah, I mean,
It's bad. It's bad. I can't look
me
at
too.
that.
Me too.
Just because I'm smiling, all right, I'm happy. All right, sue me. All right, come after me. I'm almost 40.
Cody Bellinger esque.
Dude, I love Stone Cody Bellinger. Stone Cody Bellinger is so great. He hits homer. He's like, whoa, that ball's going far, man.
You get him into Seattle or Denver, then really get his.
No, I was gonna say, you think the weed's better in Illinois than California?
I can tell you for a fact it's not. I was actually going to
say,
say,
do they
hey,
have weed in Illinois?
they do, and it's dirt. But if he does want that, then the Mariners would be a great place to sign.
Wow, yeah. If you miss out on Shohei, go get Cody Bellinger. That's not a bad little read.
Both.
Oh,
You
yeah, get both. The Mariners got $1 billion. Got it.
Listen, we have
They're owned by Nintendo. Partly, they do.
We have 2 to 3 months to throw out all these hypothetical signings and trades that aren't.
That's
gonna
true.
happen,
I want to
okay?
stick to the case in hand.
Corey, you thrilled.
Do you
our
notice how they
fans.
did not have him
Talk
say-
to Corey
Yeah, they
Seager.
had Burkhardt up there. Damn it! Come on, Fox.
I love that we saved that. It's like a premonition. I love that we saved it. It's great.
Listen, I mean, we are up against it. Do we just want to play the clip from the Chevy salesman?
Yeah, do you have it?
Yes, it is. It's definitely in the system. It's
Yeah.
in the system like 4 times.
Hit me, baby.
Not surprised. All right, so
Roll
this,
that beautiful beam.
This was
footage.
what, like 2015, maybe?
If it's Bumgarner, it's got to be 14
2014. They wanted the even years. 10,
10,
12,
12,
14.
14.
Okay.
and
Thanks.
23.
Yeah, so
Madison, congratulations.
this is after they won it. Madison Bumgarner was the MVP, and he won a truck. And they had like the Chevy sports marketing dude up there telling them how great the truck was, and it did not go well.
Thanks. Madison, congratulations. As the official sponsor or the official vehicle of Major League Baseball, Chevrolet is proud to participate in this prestigious award. Along with our dealers, we are also extremely honored to give back to this sport by supporting baseball in cities and towns across this nation. At Chevrolet, we have also been proud of the latest and greatest technology in our truck lineup, which is the all-new 2015 Chevy Colorado.
Those don't exist anymore.
It combines class-winning and leading, technology and stuff with Wi-Fi powered by OnStar, sitting there on screen. To recognize your performance in this 2014 World Series, I proudly present to you very own set of keys to a brand new 2015 Chevy Colorado. Congratulations.
I like how Madison Bumgarner's like,
Dear
yo, dude,
God.
I don't like to talk to people, and what is wrong with you?
Right?
You hear him panting? It's like, dude, are you like my size and you had to get up in that Chevy Colorado to drive it? Because I know if my fat A had to get into that car, I'd be breathing heavily too.
Usually you send an executive that doesn't look like the what was the Wilford Brimley from the Liberty Medical commercials.
Yeah.
We'll help you lead a better life. You usually send somebody that looks a little more like Josh Duhamel than that guy.
Madison, I just ran from left field. They should have had Chris Farley run down. He's like, Bum, let me tell you about this car. Technology and stuff by our friends at OnStar.
That poor guy.
Somebody was probably like in the background going, OnStar, make sure you say OnStar.
The Wi-Fi. Make sure we need
He's
to
like,
do.
got the technology and stuff.
He couldn't even
Give me
remember
that
the name of the
Vancouver
car.
Ford read. Let me see.
Yeah,
if,
you want to see it?
yeah.
You want to? Sorry, let's shuffle through some of these papers here.
Vancouver Ford text line. All text to the fan. Or via the Vancouver Ford text line. Your dollar goes further at Vancouver Ford and stuff. Treat you right before, during, and after the sale. Visit VancouverFord.com. Wi-Fi powered by OnStar. Also.
Where's the old Service Patriots read that we had to do?
Oh, well,
You get a 1.64572 mile thing you got, and we'll even do an extra one for free.
It was a good deal. One. So shame on you if you didn't take advantage of it. And
Sales Joe shows up.
where is that read?
I don't know. It's gone, dude. I got the real one.
You
Anyways.
can't leave the old reads. You gotta put the new ones.
Yeah, they gave this trophy to Corey Seager, though it was not Rob Manfred, so we're not going to get it. Do we think he was drunk or that was just like a delay?
We talked about this, the delay. We tried it, we tested it
Yeah,
on
that's
the
right,
air, and
that's
we
right.
proved that Manfred's excuse was correct.
He could hear his own voice back in his ear
His
or whatever.
excuse
and-
was correct. Now, if that was true, I don't know if I believe that.
Listen, if I'm the MLB commissioner and I know this season is ending tonight, I'm getting absolutely lit. I'm
Hammered.
like, thank God I'm
Completely
done
lit.
with another season.
And tonight, once Simeon hits that home run,
Oh.
I am like chugging tequila
Shots
if I'm Rob
around,
Manfred.
yeah.
Because he's like, last time I gave Corey Seager an MVP, it did not go well. So tonight, I might as well be wasted.
Yeah, he's like, I don't have to be on the microphone tonight. No? Okay, let's
All right,
let's get housed.
Hey, Seattle. All right, when we come back, let's talk about that amazing game one and what set the standard for not a great World Series, but definitely not a terrible World Series, but one of the best games in the history of the Fall Classic. We'll do that next. The Hot Corner, 1080 The Fan.
Leif's has been Portland's #1 choice for decades. Why? Because the other body shops trade insurance referrals for
if any of that holds fruition.
Uh-oh. Beer burp.
Almost lost it there.
Just yak all over the equipment. At that point,
Man, go do something I would do. Peace out.
go do something I would do.
So coming up in the second hour, I would like to talk about the World Series MVP, something I've been kind of asking, and now that it is true, I still want to ask that question again. Plus, we'll have fair or foul at the bottom of the 9 o'clock hour. But let's talk about Game 1 real quick. The World Series, I think I read something like 71, 75% or something like that. Percent of teams that win Game 1 go on to win the World Series. And I'll tell you what, we sat here last week as the World Series was about to get underway, and nobody really gave Arizona a shot. Mad Dog Russo had to eat some massive humble pie. I really wish he would have retired, but he didn't.
He can. He
I
just.
know he's just an idiot. He's the white baseball version of Stephen A. Smith.
I won't listen to anything or consume any of his content going forward. In my heart, he is retired.
And 10 years ago, I still loved him. I thought he was great, but now he's just a shtick, and I'm over it.
You're dead to me.
Yeah, but Arizona was kind of counted out, but that Game 1 was fascinating. It's the 5th inning, and it's 5-4 Arizona. And this Arizona team, which I would love to spend a little bit to talk about.
Was it 5-4? I thought they hit the. Did they not hit a 2-run home run to tie it, and then they went to extras, which is when they walked it off?
Yeah, but in the 5th inning, it was 5-4 Arizona.
Is this a baseball
Or it was
show?
5-4. I don't know.
Oh, God.
Do I got a stat guy?
Oh, God. I could have sworn it was a
Where are the
2-run bomb
Danettes?
to
I
tie
swear
it.
to God.
Jesus, this is embarrassing.
You're embarrassing.
No, bud. Listen, I'll eat some crow too. I will sit there I'll retire.
You'll retire. You'll retire. Great. Like I need a new co-host. Like I need a hole in my head. It was Friday.
But
right?
It was 5-3, and then Seager hit the 2-run bomb to tie
Okay,
it.
it was 5-3. Okay, sorry. I said it was 5-4. My apologies. Jesus, Joe.
Listen,
You ain't even got a full season. You just got a full season on your belt, and now you're all high and mighty.
now you want to correct me
Now
and
you
tell
want
me
to correct me.
what the score actually
All
was.
right, all right. Do you know who the MVP of the '68 World Series is?
What year is it?
He's
It's
one of the
2020.
only two-time World Series MVPs.
Oh, well, if you're going to do that, there's only been 4.
Well, you got 3 to choose from.
68?
68.
That had to have been Koufax.
Incorrect.
It had to have been Jackson.
Incorrect.
It had to have been Gibson.
It was definitely Bob Gibson.
Did they all play around that same time?
Yes.
Damn it.
Koufax is 60 and 61. Gibson is 67 and 68. And Reggie is 72 and 77.
This is a baseball show, I swear.
This is a baseball show, I swear.
I am only 31 years old. I swear.
But that game was fantastic. That game was absolutely fantastic. The offense came out, but pitchers weren't terrible, but the offense came out. And then it boils down to, why are you pitching to Corey Seager? And Corey Seager made him pay, and he knew it instantly, and that building went electric. And I find it what I love a lot about Game 1 and how it played out was, of course, it's the consummate professional, been there before kind of guy in Corey Seager, who hits the game tying home run. Okay. And then in the extra innings, of course, it's the talked about, all eyes on, outlandish storyline character of the previous series hitting the go ahead. And when I watched that, Joe, it's funny. I had to record it because I was out with some friends, but there was no TVs around me. So I recorded the game from the 6th inning on. And I didn't see your text. No, I did see your text that said effing Adolis. And I assumed
yes.
I assumed he struck out in a big moment.
No. Complete
I didn't-
opposite.
I didn't know what was going on.
Yeah, and also that's a very vague text to
Right,
send. If it was
right.
like an exclamation point after that, then it would be like, oh, he must have done something.
Well,
big,
because I
but
was
just-
stupid and I was driving home. I was like, driving home. Can't wait to watch the last 3 innings of this game. Oh, Joe texted me. I wonder what Joe said. And he says, effing Adolis. And I was like, uh-oh, that's a spoiler alert. And what was hilarious, Joe, was I thought it was because when Corey hit that dinger to tie the game, Adolis came up in the 10th and he struck out. And I thought that's what you were referring to. I was like, oh man, Joe's really mad that he struck out in a tie ball game in extra innings. And then I watched the next and he hit a dinger and went out. That game was really fun. That I wish it's awesome that was game 1, but I also wish that was like game 4 because it created a place that the series wasn't going to be able to get to again. The high highs, the walk-off, but boy, that was a fun game.
Yeah, I mean, you got a little bit of it in game 3, but I mean,
Totes.
game 2, blowout, last night's game, blowout. Tonight, you definitely got it, but after Zach Gallen got pulled, that was definitely like a gut punch.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, it's just like, dude, if, the offense has not been popping all night, and if we're pulling Gallen now, who has been our stud all night, I can imagine that it didn't feel good, and then the 9th inning happened, and those extra insurance runs got on the board.
And we'll get to Gallen in a little bit, but yeah, when they pulled him, I knew it was the smart move. I thought Lovolo was ahead of the curve. I talked to some buddies. I said, I think most managers would have left him in. He had a low pitch count. He was dealing.
Yeah,
I thought Lovolo pulled him at the
tough.
right time, but once Corey Seager, I keep saying that name, crossed home plate and made it 1-0, you were kind of like, oh boy, I don't think this is going to work out. But that game 1 set the standard, and I think I remember the 2005 World Series, Houston-Chicago White Sox, and I think that is the worst World Series I watched in my lifetime that I can remember. The 09 World Series, Phillies-Rays, was also really rough, but that was more rain delays and stuff like that. It was just not set up to be in a good spot. But the 05 World Series, I thought was really, really rough to watch. They had one game that went to like 18 innings, and it's like, cool, this wasn't a good game. This was just two teams that kind of suck. And the Red Sox were bad that year, and Houston was trying to do something with Pettit and Clemens, and it just didn't work. And I was like, this team sucks. It didn't do that. And so I think it's hard. But this game 1 of this World Series, I thought is one for the books. It's up there with David Freese in 2013. That's a game 7, so that's a little cheating. It's Luis Gonzalez in 2001. That's game 7. That's a little bit cheating. But as far as a game win, this one's up there for me.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be lost in the allure of the, World Series. I'm just looking back on years past.
Yeah, people are going to look at it and say Rangers in 5. Oh, okay, that's boring.
Yeah,
but
the last 5-game series we had in a World Series was 2018 when the Red Sox beat the Dodgers. And then
can't even remember that World Series. Mookie Betts, the MVP. Nathan Eovaldi was a stud on the mound. That's all I remember.
And then before that, only a game that went 5 or a series that went 5 games was the Royals versus the Mets.
So are you?
But that was exciting because the Mets had the big monster with Noah, Jacob, and Harvey.
And Royals were going.
And Royals had
to-
lost the year
yeah.
before. We kind of knew they were going to win.
Are you guys trying to say then that this is like the most entertaining 5-game World Series in history, or it was
Maybe.
more entertaining than expected? Because I you saw the ratings for Game 1. Nobody watched. It was
No,
one of the
I mean,
lowest,
I
or
think
the
I saw
lowest.
I ain't saying that. I mean,
7th lowest game 1 in the
history.
history of World Series.
Well,
and game 2 was the worst rated World Series game
well,
ever.
again, last
It was
night-
a sleeper for the general fan.
But like I said, I thought this was going to be a good matchup that nobody was going to watch. There's just, if you're a casual baseball fan, you don't even know Adolis Garcia. You probably don't even know Corey Seager.
Well, that's-
and he's a 2-time World Series MVP.
Fair.
Garcia is why I've been trying to, hammer home him all year. Is that dude's been a stud the 2 years before this year, and then he followed it up. But I mean, other 4-1 series before that. I mean, most of these MLB World Series last year's Astros Phillies was fun. Braves, seeing them pull it off after however many years. Dodgers, that COVID year, whatever. Nationals, I think, was super interesting.
Yep.
That would win a game 7.
Their
but
path was also really interesting.
Correct. Going up against the cheating Astros. But yeah, I mean, that Red Sox Dodgers, it's funny. Before tonight's show, I was thinking about like what is the timeline of World Series winners in the history of Hot Corner. And 2018 was the year I couldn't remember. And I was like, oh, yeah, that's the year the Red Sox won it. I was like,
Yeah. I
that's,
always remember they won 18.
Sure enough, 5-game series. And it's
I always remember they won in 18, and I remember that Mookie's the MVP because I think he's the only regular season MVP to be the World Series MVP in the same year. We'll have the our crack stat team check that, but I believe he is the only World Series and regular season MVP in the same year. But I couldn't remember who they played. I don't remember how the series went. I remember Nathan Eovaldi was really good. That's it. And I hate Alex Cora, and that's all I remember. But yeah, as a 5-game series, I think games 1, 3, and 5 were really good games. I thought they were really good baseball games between two teams that duked it out and deserved to be where they were. I thought Arizona had every right to be in this World Series, just like they had every right to be in this game up until the 9th inning when their closer gave it up. Outside of that, they hung with Texas. Texas beat the bejesus out of the Orioles. They played the Astros games and beat them at it. And they showed up and took care of business. Like, Texas deserved this. And Arizona should be damn proud of what they did. Arizona took out the Dodgers and the Phillies, all right? That is impressive enough for me to give you some credit.
So it's not MVP, but Oral Hershiser won Cy Young and NLCS MVP and World Series MVP in 88. But his teammate Kirk Gibson won the NL MVP that year. Eckersley and Justin Verlander have the Cy Young MVP, LCS MVP trio for their careers, but they don't have
Verlander lost a World Series to Bruce Bochy.
Years time.
2010, I believe.
I'm old, and I'm only 31. I cannot keep track of things anymore.
I know, I'm trying.
2010, that is San Francisco Giants.
Over the Detroit Tigers.
Yes, okay.
And the Detroit Tigers pitching staff is Max Scherzer, Justin Verlander, Rick Porcello, and Jordan Zimmerman.
When they had everybody.
Yeah. Yeesh. That was good.
Baseball stuff.
Yeah, but Bochy.
Dude, it's 1,000,000 degrees in this studio.
It
you
is
feel the
1,000,000
same?
degrees.
Oh my
Yeah, you feel
God.
that.
You guys
All right,
got to
let's get
turn
out of
the.
here.
I mean, I'm wearing a
auto on
sweater
or
and a
something.
beanie, but
Let's
dear
get out of
God.
here. Well,
I'll
it's
come
just making
fix
me
it
more
for you.
stoned, so I'm into it. All right, when we come back, we got a loaded second hour for you, plus fair or foul at the bottom. We'll do that next. The Hot Corner, 1080 The Fan.
Boom, boom, boom.
A little less because we are way over.
That's my fault.
What?
Blame it on the producer.
We are way over, and I
I
like.
appreciate the quarterback approach there. You know, we took the L today, put it on me, put it on my shoulders. You went 38 for 43 for 375 yards, 4 touchdowns, and no picks, and you also ran for 2 touchdowns. Put it on me.
Put it on me.
You
It's
know,
on
I'm
me,
the
baby.
leader. I gotta stand
leader.
up, and you know, guys do that after they have a balling out performance, right?
Let's ride.
If they suck, they'll just be like, you know, I think we all could have played better today.
Hey,
Oh,
Seattle.
that's true. You know, we played bad as a team. We need to play better as a
How do you feel
team.
about your performance? You know, I think we all
We just
got to
execute better.
standards,
We
you know.
just got to be better prepared, and that falls on me as the quarterback.
You know, from 1 to 53, you know, we're
Tom. You got-
Classic Dabo. Let me blame the fan and then take 100% accountability.
you want to
Tom,
apply for the job?
Tom, you've been to 10 Super Bowls. Yeah, it falls on me. I just got to be
still
better.
my fault. I suck.
Just got to be better.
I suck.
I want to put a bow on the Rangers, and then I would like to spend a little time talking about the Diamondbacks. And I'm basically going to use these next 2 segments to just hammer what I've been saying for a few weeks because I think it's reality. And yeah, a little bit of me is going to take some credit for it, but I also think it's just the reality. Corey Seager is now a 2-time World Series MVP.
Corey.
We got a little bit of a fast track here for a potential future Hall of Famer.
Oh,
Who are the other guys that have won 2 times World Series MVPs? Sandy Koufax, Bob Gibson, and Reggie Jackson. Pretty sure one of those guys is my favorite pitcher of all time. Pretty sure the other guy is considered the greatest left-hander of all time, and the other guy's nickname is Mr. October.
wait. So which one is your favorite pitcher of all time?
Bob Gibson, baby.
How many?
Gibson's a righty.
Never mind.
Koufax is a lefty, the curve, dude.
No,
The Jewish
I,
space laser. Come on, man.
listen. The other night after Game 1, when he hit that game-tying shot, I was just like, if he wins a second World Series MVP, like, boy, conversations are to be had.
Have I been sitting next to Patrick Harris for too long?
Listen, when you do it once, it's just, you know, there's a lot of guys who have won World Series MVPs. There's a lot of guys that won an
Andre
NBA Finals
Iguodala
MVP.
is a wonderful player. I watched his entire career. I am a very big Andre Iguodala fan. I think he is a criminally underrated player. I think he is fantastic. His game evolved. A great NBA player that I can't wait to think about when I watch. When I tell my kids about basketball. Not a Hall of Famer.
Well, no, he's not. But he won a MVP in the NBA Finals.
Yep.
There's a lot of guys.
Deserve it.
There's a lot of dudes that have won MVPs. Who's the Seattle Seahawks Super Bowl MVP? Malcolm Brown or something like that? The
Wasn't
line.
Matt Hasselbeck, I know that.
No, he
Well,
was
they
not.
lost.
Yeah.
That was the point.
He
of
did
my
not.
comment.
He did not take the ball, and he did not score.
But we want the ball. We're gonna score.
Did not happen. But like again, randos sometimes win it, right?
Let me tell you this. 2008, the New York Yankees won the World Series, and they had Derek Jeter and Alex Rodriguez. CC Sabathia. Who's the MVP of that World Series?
2008.
2008.
Dude,
Was
I
it
don't know.
CZ?
You've heard my track record of remembering things tonight. So
They
Brett
beat the
freaking
Phillies.
Gardner?
Nope.
Jorge Posada,
Nope.
Hideki Matsui.
Hideki Matsui.
Yeah, the Godzilla.
Yeah.
Gojira.
So basically, when you win a MVP in the World Series, NBA Finals, Super Bowl, it's like cool.
It's
That's
just
a, that's
right
a
time, right place.
great honor. Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
Great honor. You do it twice,
Two
and
different teams.
you kill it as much as you do in the regular season, like Corey Seager does. The conversation shifts dramatically into not being one of the best players today, but of all time.
And that's my biggest question. Like, Corey might not compile the stats needed.
Mhm.
He might not hit 500 home runs. He might not finish with 3,000 hits. He might not have a career batting average of 300. But, I mean, this has got to give him an inside track, right?
It's funny you bring up all those numbers because those are the traditional measuring sticks.
And as baseball's
yeah.
evolving, guys are going to get less and less able to get that, especially
Yeah.
pitchers.
Then the number of home run hitters that get to 500 is going to be so few. But then you also look at those qualifiers, and then you look at the number of 2-time World Series MVP. You listed them; it's 3. So I feel like there are certain qualifiers. I believe the minimum that you have to play in the majors is 10 years now to make the Hall of Fame. So
okay.
if you won 2 World Series MVPs in your first 6 years and then just, flew off the radar, unfortunately, you would never be eligible. But Corey has played longer, and I do think because of that, yeah, these kinds of things, these moments where you're there twice, that automatically gets you Hall of Fame status.
Well, and let's look back at the last few years for him, because this year speaks for itself.
Oh, I love it. Show me stats.
Last year,
Show me the Carfax.
He was an all-star in his first year with Texas, played 151. But in his last year with the Dodgers, he played 95 games total.
We had Tommy John.
You have the COVID year, 2020, which everybody's stats that year are abbreviated.
But he is the World Series MVP.
Correct. 2019, he has a full year. But 2018, he played only 26 games that year.
Joe, while you were gone, we talked about this. Patrick and I did, kind of discussing Corey Seager's unfortunate injury history and the potential for you to, if you miss too much time, you're great, but then you start to look like Mike Trout. But no World Series MVPs under Mike Trout's belt either.
But from 2018
no playoff wins either.
to 2023, he has 3 of the 6 seasons. And again, I know COVID is not, he played kind of a full season, but he only played 52 games. Like, that is going to hurt. Like, when they look at stats overall in the record books, yes, there will be that context, but it happens a lot. I think when we're looking at these guys, it's like, God, what the hell happened in 2020? And it's like, oh, they played a third of the season. But having back-to-back years like he has had, and then now following up a World Series run where you won an MVP with the Dodgers, with a World Series run and an MVP with your new team after just being there 2 years, like.
And I remember on this show, you and I are sitting here with Voldemort, and he signs with Texas, and our biggest question was, our first question was, why aren't the Dodgers signing him? And our second question is, there's Texas again. Sorry, Corey. God, we love you. You're a great player. See you never. See you never again.
And he is turning 30 next April.
He's got at least 4 more years of good baseball in him.
And listen, shortstop.
What's his career hits? You got that in front of you?
Yeah, I got his
He's
baseball
no way he gets
reference.
3,000. No way.
As far as total hits go, he's only at 1,000.
Yeah,
he's at 1,019.
No way. No way.
So we can get 2, maybe.
Yeah, maybe 2,200 if he has a couple really good seasons.
But again, this is the, basically since his full rookie season and sophomore year, this year and last year was the first time he was able to string together back-to-back, full seasons.
Mm-hmm.
And, well, it's already paid off for the Rangers.
Yeah, it has. And he might not make the Hall of Fame. But he's never going to pay for a beer in L.A., and he's never going to pay for a beer in Arlington or Dallas.
His trajectory, though, is MVP or is Hall of Fame caliber for sure. Like, it's like it's going to take a lot for that to change. And yeah, dude's not even 30. He's already won 2. Like, he could add a MVP, which he hasn't done yet.
But like I said, I mean, he'd have
have
it this year if the greatest phenom in professional sports didn't show up.
And he is one of the most complete players offensively.
He really is.
So I would venture to guess, like, before Edgar Martinez made the Hall of Fame, there were all these arguments that he would show up on, the lists of like doubles, average, and there's certain stats that you don't always look at, but Edgar's shown up with guys like Mickey Mantle and nobody else. So I think Corey Seager would not be surprised if he starts showing up on similar lists.
And I
as
remember
well.
a few years we were talking Corey Seager, Xander Bogaerts, Frankie Lindor, Fernando Tatis Jr., Dansby Swanson, like all these great shortstops. Who are you going to take? And I probably said Frankie because I think he's the best defensively of all of them. But Corey's probably the most complete. Home runs, RBIs, clutch, defense. He's a big dude, bigger than his brother. I mean, his brother played out of his own size. Like, that's what made Kyle really good, was he was a bigger player than his stature actually was. But Corey's bigger than his brother. He's got more power. He's a better range at shortstop. And he's a 2-time World Series MVP.
And now back-to-back regular seasons with 30-plus home runs. He's hit 33 in back-to-back seasons. And first time he's done that in his career. Last year was the first time he hit over 30. So, I mean, like, it sounds like he's entering his peak.
Most importantly, the backbone of my dynasty fantasy baseball team.
Oh God.
The backbone. Now that DeGrom is a bum and McClanahan's getting Tommy John, we're on the Corey Seager train, baby.
Should we start talking about my golf round last Sunday too, as far as ancillary sports activities?
Says
that
a guy
things
who
don't
hosts a
care
2-hour
about?
show about fantasy football on Sunday.
That's
All right, when we
not-
come back,
no.
let's get into
We scrapped the segment. Text line wasn't giving us love. We scrapped it. All right.
No, just make it up like other people do.
Now we just lose money
Looking at
on
you
gambling
Saturday.
like everybody else on this station.
All right, coming up, let's look at the Arizona Diamondbacks and let's give credit where credit is due and see what's the future hold for this team. We'll do that next. The Hot Corner, 1080 The Fan.
Want a job that
Are your 2023 World Series champions, and very deservedly so. They went through a gauntlet. And what's fun about this World Series is, boy, they played a pesky Arizona Diamondbacks team. And I'd like to use this opportunity to give a pretty nice shout out to the Arizona Diamondbacks. Torey Lovullo has cemented himself, in my opinion, as maybe not top 5, but a top manager in baseball.
Well, and also, let's just play this to give him some love as well. Be careful. Don't go off that trail too far.
This team is
They'll
not
get you.
this team is not going anywhere. Zach Gallen threw an amazing game tonight.
Yeah, didn't throw in an
Third
amazing
time-
7th inning, though.
Third time through
What
the
a
lineup
bum.
is when they get you, and I'm not going to blame Luvolo. His pitch count was at like 60 pitches in the 7th. I remember I looked up in the 5th and I said, does he really have 36 pitches? And sure enough, he did. So I don't blame Luvolo for not pulling Gallen early. Gallen started the All-Star game. He might win the National League Cy Young. Steele in Chicago is my vote, but Gallen might win it in the National League. Merrill Kelly was really good this year. Brandon Pfaadt has a future. You have a potential. It's probably not Castillo, Gilbert, Kirby. It's probably not a Fried, Strider, etc. It's probably not, a Framber Valdez and Justin Verlander and Christian Javier. And it might not be that, but hey, I'll tell you, Zach Gallen, Merrill Kelly, and Brandon Pfaadt, for what I saw this year, that's a pretty damn good 1, 2, 3, and I'd be really happy with that. Then you couple on top of that, Ketel Marte is not going anywhere, and he's really coming into his own, and he has been. He's just been doing it quietly because Arizona's been bad. Corbin Carroll, that is a star in the making. That is an absolute star in the making. He is going to be the National League MVP, and you saw that team went with him. Tonight, when he got on base, his first 2 at-bats, he got on base and stole bases each time. Like, that is the baseball Arizona wants to play. This team is feisty, and what I love about them is what I've been hammering about the last couple weeks. They grinded it out against the Brewers, who I didn't think were a very good team. I wish the Cubs would have got in. I thought it'd be a lot more fun.
Listen, they beat up on their own division. That is why they were in the playoffs.
Yes. And they got in, they get by them, and I remember those games were close, and then all of a sudden Arizona was blowing them out. It was like, whoa, what happened there? Milwaukee dealt with injuries, but still. They get to the Dodgers, and they straight punched him in the mouth.
Right.
Punched him in the mouth. So they kind of had to learn, whoa, how do I deal with being the bully? And then they got to Philly, and then they got bullied by Philly. And they had to kind of figure out, okay.
And they're
well,
like, wait, we've been in this position.
how do I fight back against the bully? And they fought back. That Phillies team is loaded. I would argue that Philly is probably, for my money, second best odds to win the World Series next year behind the Braves. Right? It's those 2 teams next year. When we talk about this in March, we're probably going to be choosing between the Braves and the Phillies in the National League. Arizona gets through the Phillies, who smoked the Braves. Arizona gets in the World Series. Yeah, they lost game 1 in heartbreaking fashion. And as this team learns how to be the winner, learns how to be the loser, gets to the World Series and gets smacked in one of the maybe best games I've ever seen in a World Series, to come back the next day and win it handedly on the road, this team's built for success. Torey Lovullo at the top is great. You've got a potential 3-headed monster at the top of the rotation. Ketel Marte, I love the kid at shortstop. Great catching.
Perdomo.
Yeah. Perdomo's great at shortstop. He made a great play tonight. I love Moreno behind the dish. Christian Walker, really, really solid little player over there. Good clubhouse guy.
Not bad.
Not bad.
It would look better in black and orange.
Ketel Marte, like Corbin Carroll in the outfield. Like, this team is not cash-strapped. They don't have outlandish contracts on the books. They can go play for some free agents. I like the future of this team. And I thought they showed up in the World Series. You lost in 5 games, and the history books are going to look back at you not very favorable, and maybe look back at this World Series not very favorable. As a diehard, a lot of credit to Arizona. I thought they came to play, and I thought this was a good showing for them.
Yeah, I mean, again, we talked a little last week about just their season journey, but I think I had this at a 6-game series at best. I think that you also had this at 6 games.
I wanted it to be 6.
But the offense got to him. I think that first game, as we talked about in the last segment, if game 1 goes differently, maybe the series goes differently. But
And that's probably what they're missing. I mean, Carroll, Pham, Marte, Gurriel, like guys like that, they've got really good hitters. Where's the pop? There's no Adolis. There's no Corey. There's no Simeon. Guys that can leave the ballpark when they need to. Christian Walker is probably the closest they have.
But if that's your guy, you need one
more.
to two more. Of
You need
those.
more.
Yeah.
Yeah, you need somebody that's going to be,
Or just one more of those and then one more Martes.
Yep. This team is not far from being a really, really big problem.
No. Listen, you know it starts in Hillsboro, right? I think everybody, and shame on us. We do not.
That is the truth.
We do not talk
That is the
about
truth.
Hillsboro hops as more than we should on
Two
this
kids
show.
in the World Series. To be fair, Corbin Carroll played 11 games, batted like 470, and they were like, you can move up.
Yeah.
And they had a kid in the World Series last year with Dansby Swanson because they.
That
I
is also
still
true.
remember my last year as the MC of the Hillsboro Hops. One of my last acts as
2 years ago.
working there was sitting in sitting in that stairwell, being like, I got to make sure I watch Dansby's at bat because this kid's going places. And lo and behold, there we go.
But with that being said, Arizona Diamondbacks, after August trade deadline this year, they came away with the 12th best MLB pipeline.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and that was a drop from their preseason rank, but that's what happens when you call up,
That's
the
what happens when
rookie
you
of the
call-
year.
When you call up the rookie of the year and also a potential monster in your rotation in Brandon Pfaadt.
Yes, exactly. So they moved those two guys up. They only have two top 100 prospects. So I mean, we'll see if they go the Orioles route and just kind of like add a couple veteran dudes like a dear God, it's completely like an Adam Frazier and
But
a
that-
Shaq Flaherty.
But I think
or
that's,
if they say like, no, let's strike. We have a great young core. We have probably an arm or two away from having a World Series winning staff, and we're a hitter or two away from having a elite offense in the National League and just the entire Major League Baseball. So let's go for it. We live in sunny Arizona. We know we can get free agents here. So we're going to see if they're for real. If they pull a Texas Rangers, if they see their opponent they just lost to that just forked over $500-600 million in salary over the last 2 years, or if they're going to play the small market, let's make smart moves and try and play the Tampa Bay, the Baltimore route and become a winning franchise that way, which we kind of seen it can work both ways now.
I think they're in a spot where they can go any direction. I mean, let's not forget this team doled out $25 million for Madison Bumgarner, and he was cut 3 months into the season.
Yeah.
If you're willing to spend that kind of money on a guy,
Even more of a reason to look at it and be like, we don't have to spend that money to find the right players.
but you can also flip that on its head and say we don't have to wait around for our farm system. Yeah, we got the 12th best, but maybe we strike now. They're probably I assume Tommy Pham is a free agent at the end of the year.
I think so.
I would assume nobody likes that guy except for Arizona all of a sudden.
If he plays really good baseball, I'm sure
Bet you the
anybody
Yeah.
will
Dodgers
like him.
sign him.
Yeah, so I mean, you might lose him, but you got everybody else, and your three-headed monster is there, good to go, ready to rumble. You need a closer, but you can find that even at the deadline if you need, like they did, and you go out there and find yourself a bat. Go get yourself a Carlos Santana. What if the Diamondbacks sign Carlos Santana to play DH and then go get Cody Bellinger? No, they can't because they got Christian Walker at first. But I mean, you know what I
They could
mean?
Move him.
You know what I mean? Like,
He's played outfield, though.
you know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like,
exactly.
find somebody like that. Like, they can spend the money on a bat and go get one.
See, the problem is with this year's free agent class, unfortunately, you're looking at like Bellinger, Teoscar Hernandez at the top of bats.
And that's it.
And I mean, it is so thin. So I would not be surprised if they were looking at a bat. You talked about their full farm system, kind of like the Mariners are doing, maybe looking at trading some of those young position players. Mariners, it would be a pitcher, but I bet you they have a better chance to sign a free agent pitcher because they need to
Yeah.
than they do a hitter.
All right, well,
apparently-
screw it. Go get Shohei.
Well, apparently, according to The
Let's go.
Athletic,
Go get Shohei, Arizona. That'll take you back.
the second best free agent this year is Yoshinobu Yamamoto.
Oh, yeah,
behind
yeah.
Shohei.
Oh, yeah, he's getting
Ohtani.
posted.
He is.
Yeah, he's apparently
Come on
right-hander. He played for the Oryx Buffaloes.
Oh, but only the Cubs and the Red Sox and the Yankees have an inside track on him.
Maybe the San Francisco Giants.
Oh,
That's usually
weird.
the
I don't
one.
know. I heard he likes Baltimore. It's beautiful
So
during
sick of
certain
that.
parts of
Not
the year.
Baltimore, the LA stuff.
But I don't know. I was gonna say some. Oh, text line, Vancouver Ford text line. I wanted to give love there because someone said, "Huh? The Snakes won 84 games this season, just a couple fewer, and they're irrelevant." Dude, I hear you. I'm surprised that they got there, especially the way that
Cool,
their July
dude.
and August worked. But the
The
fact
Houston
is,
Astros lose 2 games and they're irrelevant too.
the fact is that they were just in the World Series. So if they won 84 games, if they won 83, 82, 85, 86, it doesn't matter.
They're in the World Series, and outside of one game, they competed with the team that just won. I don't want to hear this.
No,
I hate
exactly.
this. I hate it. You know, it's like the Dan Lanning thing. Well, if you didn't go for it, oh, shut up. There's a bunch of other stuff. It's like the other day, they were killing the ump for calling a strike on that outside call. Cool. He missed a clear strike on the inside corner. So, like, what are we yelling about? It's over. They're in.
I will give the texter credit for calling them the Snakes because I feel like that is something that we don't do enough
I know.
as MLB fans and followers, is just referring to them simply as the Snakes.
I know,
Yeah.
because you like go to a bar and nobody watches the World Series and you're like, the D-backs, more like the D-bags. And you're like, okay.
Well, and from
man,
from
all
what I
right,
understand,
move along.
From what I understand is they are going to be trying to shift their marketing and their apparel and everything away from anything D-backs
That's a
related
smart move.
and just Diamondbacks. Like their
It's a smart
jersey,
move.
their jerseys next year I think are supposed to just say Diamondbacks or Arizona on it. That's it.
The Diamonds.
No.
All right, when we come back, we'll do
Not as cool.
fair or foul, everybody's favorite. But first, Schultze with sports. or foul. We'll turn it over to our fantastic producer,
Hey,
Jordan Schultz.
I want you to be a good dad January through November, and then December, the holidays, when it matters the most, to really rally, just fall apart. for
fall
me,
apart,
please.
and now I'm a terrible dad.
Yeah, and then but we'll reshape the calendar to make it easier for you, so that way you just
we'll
win.
push it to June to
Yeah.
make sure that you're still good. Sorry, off
we,
topic.
we were talking about the
Hell are we
ML,
talking about?
we were talking about the MLB playoffs in the commercial break and about
It's
how
like, oh, the Phillies fell apart, so it must be the playoff problem.
because the Braves, Dodgers, the Orioles, all the
and the
best
Phillies
records,
and the Rays.
they were supposed to be so good and win it, right? Oh wait, the Rangers and Diamondbacks are in the World Series, so let's change the playoff format so that way the best teams in the regular season are the best teams in the World Series.
Even if they
playoffs
S
and-
the bed, they still deserve to be.
So again, Jordan, if you could just be a great producer throughout the entire year, a great coworker, a great person, great host, great everything, and then the last month of the year when we need you to bring it home for us and be the best you can be, just S the bed. We'll reshape the calendar and reformat everything for you so that way you can bring it home
And
for
now
us
you're a
next year.
bum.
I get your hypocrisy and your sarcasm here, but yeah, that's life, fans. Sorry.
Thank you.
You're not always going to be the best in 10 months if you were the best
And this
10 months ago.
it comes to our point that the Diamondbacks, they had a chance, they were there in the playoffs, and they took advantage of that chance.
I'm not even gonna go like life's a box of chocolates here. Life's like poker, y'all. Sometimes it just comes down to the luck of the draw. Sometimes you're running really, really hot.
Sometimes you get the Brewers in the first
Sometimes
round,
you're running
okay?
super cold. All right.
Sometimes you get honeydew melon and a
Honeydew.
croissant.
I'm telling you, if those ants show back up, I'm not going to be happy. And neither will Joey.
You can email swag@idon'tcare.com.
Swaggle care. All right, let's get into fair or foul. Number one, fair or foul number one. Adolis Garcia led the league with 20 postseason hits. Fair or foul? Adolis Garcia led the league with 20 postseason hits. Fair or foul?
I'm going to start, but not because I know this. I do know that he tied for the most home runs in a single postseason run with 8.
Yeah,
I
you're-
believe,
yeah.
was the
This I
total.
also know as well.
So if he had 8 home runs
He
alone,
has at least 8 hits.
that is math.
That is math.
Hey,
that is
figured that
correct
one out.
math.
That's really good stuff. Have you
That's-
ever seen a volcano?
Those are some stats for your ass.
Just act
Those are
light.
some stats for your ass.
So I am going to say fair that 12 other hits were accumulated by Adolis Garcia during this postseason run.
20?
He led the league with 20 postseason hits. Fair or foul?
They were in the first round. They were in the wild card, so that helps. You get a little extra. You get a little extra
Yes,
boost.
sir.
Well, when you play the Orioles only 3 games in a 5-game series, that doesn't help.
I am going to go with foul because I think the answer is Tommy Pham
You're close.
or the answer is Ketel Marte.
He did
Yeah,
get 4
there you
hits
go.
in one game.
Yeah.
so,
Ketel Marte is
I knew I
actually
should have
the
gone with
leader
Ketel Marte.
for postseason hits in 2023 of every single player. He had 24 hits.
Doesn't he have the most all-time hits?
in a postseason?
No,
just
he
one
has
single postseason.
He has consecutive games with a hit.
Oh yeah.
He
he's-
passed a bunch of dudes that were all time. Do you know Manny Ramirez has like a 18-game World Series hitting streak?
That's it. He
Because
also
he
has
did it in 95, 97, 04, and 07.
he played in a lot of playoff games too. Has a lot of home runs.
4 World Series, and he got a hit in every game he played in. Steroids.
Probably. I'm on him right now.
Hey, he didn't rape nobody. He didn't kill nobody.
high right now. I have no idea what's going on.
Fair or foul number 2. The Texas Rangers have already set the record for most road wins in a single postseason. Fair or foul?
Fair.
Fair. I
1,
was
2,
going to
3,
say,
fair. Yeah, we already
I'll
know
start, but they were 11-0 on the road in this postseason.
Yeah.
I mean, hell.
What would you say you do here?
20 years ago, I don't know if you even played 11 postseason games. So
Point.
I'm going to say fair. Yes, this is the most road wins.
It's pretty amazing to consider. I mean, the Astros Rangers series was just fun because no home team won a game, and kudos to you because screw the Astros. But
Yep.
it's wild to think like it doesn't phase you. And baseball's weird because baseball is kind of like hockey
And
in
it-
the sense that it can give you a big advantage, but it's also not a huge disadvantage.
But also, being that the World Series opponent was literally in Arizona, a state. What is that? Maybe 2 states. Is New Mexico? Yeah, it goes.
New Mexico is a state.
Arizona, New Mexico.
Oh yeah,
then,
just a state in between.
Yeah, exactly. Listen, New Mexico, it's pretty straight. I'm sure it's an hour and a half to get through that thing. Right? Land? Mass? No?
Geography?
But I'm sure there are a lot of, because what, the Diamondbacks started as a franchise in 97? Okay, 95?
97 maybe, yeah.
What was with
I
us
think
in the
the
90s adding a bunch of franchises?
Marlins were
every
95, Diamondbacks were 97. Yeah, I believe that was the.
And then Marlins won it in 97 and
97.
Diamondbacks in 2001.
So I can imagine the Southwest, there's a good amount of Rangers fans from over the last 60 years in Texas, New Mexico, and Arizona.
Yeah, probably.
And so that game 1, it was in Arizona, or I mean, it was in Texas, but there was the Arizona games that it was very much like there's Texas fans in this building.
Totally.
Well, yeah, you nailed that one, guys. Fair. Yeah, bunch of wins, 11 wins in 2023. The closest were the 2019 Nationals, and surprisingly, the 96 Yankees with 8. That was a really good Yankees team.
Well, and they were under the radar Yankee team in 96.
That's true.
It's more 98, 99, 2000, 01, 03 that were the kind of juggernauts. The 96 team was the one that snuck through. The Braves were down, the Indians were down, and they kind of got in.
Still Paul O'Neill led as opposed to like Derek Jeets and Jorge
Joe
Posada
Girardi
and
behind the
31.
dish. Joe Girardi behind the dish.
Joe freaking Girardi. Hey, maybe
Jeter's
the Mariners
rookie
need to
year.
give him a call. Yeah, Jeets. All right, fair foul number 3. Thought this one was very interesting. So, obviously, the Texas Rangers winning their first World Series ever tonight. The Arizona Diamondbacks, though, actually both teams very long shot odds to get there and win. Arizona Diamondbacks were 125 to 1. And the Texas Rangers, somebody placed a $200 bet 28 days ago, won 80 grand. So both teams just massive long shots to get here. Fair or foul, the Arizona Diamondbacks will be in the World Series again before the Texas Rangers. Fair or foul?
Ooh.
Can you say that one more time? I read something on my computer and it completely threw me off.
Well, thanks for listening.
Sorry.
Yeah, the D-backs will be in the World Series again before the Texas Rangers.
Oh!
I'll go first on this. I'll let you
Go
stew
for
for
it.
a second.
Fair or
This is a very interesting question. And I think when you look at how Texas is constructed,
Yeah.
Eovaldi, DeGrom will be back at some point next year.
Mike Maddox.
Mike Maddox,
Scherzer,
Mad
baby.
Max in the bullpen in the dugout with two-eyed Mad Max and Max Scherzer. I think you look at the Rangers on paper, but they're so much older. And Max is now getting hurt. DeGrom can never stay healthy. You have to imagine Seager's at the top of his game. Simeon's at the top of his game. Garcia should be getting better. So that's something to watch for. And Josh Young and Jonah Heim and Nathaniel Lau and some of those guys, like, they're definitely growing. And Leclerc, and I like him as a closer, even if he scares the bejesus out of me. I think the answer to this is fair. I think Arizona is built for long term. If Arizona can win about 58.75% of their games for the next 10 years, they'll be considered playoff bound.
Was
Thanks
that
for that?
was that some shots fired there?
Yeah,
No,
it was.
that's just reality. That is, my friend, some stats for your ass.
Listen, you're doing the fans a favor, okay, by throwing out that number. But I will say foul that the Rangers would be back before the Diamondbacks in the World Series because, quite frankly, the Rangers were kind of a shoo-in in these playoffs. They were in it. Like, I know there was the AL West was up for grabs, but as far as all the teams that made the playoffs, they were in the American League for the most part. Like, okay, these were great teams throughout the year. To that texter's credit on the Vancouver Ford text line, the Diamondbacks did just slip in pretty late. They almost lost it at the end of the year. They lost like 7 of their last 9
they had
games,
a really
5
bad
of their
July,
last
a
7.
really bad half of August.
They were lucky to be there. And so they either have to build on this and add pieces to not just barely escape. I mean, it helps that the Giants might be in a rebuilding phase. The Padres don't know what the hell they're doing. They're taking out $50 million loans to pay their players. You've got the Dodgers, who you just beat. So, I mean, Diamondbacks have a good road, but the Rangers just comfortably beat them.
They are more set up for instant success.
Yes, that's why I would say the Rangers, this is foul, are more likely to go back than the Diamondbacks, or be there sooner.
It's
rather.
true. The second we saw them line up with Tampa, it went, oh, we weren't watching Texas.
Yeah.
And then they got through Tampa. We were like, well, Tampa fell apart. Wander Franco's a creep. Their entire staff is dead.
They're committing errors everywhere.
Yeah, maybe this is an outlier. Game 1 against Houston, it's like, maybe we didn't watch Texas. Game 1 against Arizona, maybe we didn't watch Texas. Yeah, you're right. I think they're more set up for current success. I like how Arizona's built, so I'll take the wild card. Joe, I think you're right, but I'll take the wild card and take a shot. Take a futures bet.
All right, let's wrap it up, fair or foul. This is an interesting one. News coming out today that the San Diego Padres took out a $50 million loan to cover some payroll, some short-term expenses, some other stuff that they needed to cover.
I totally knew that and didn't get an email from someone about that.
Totally, me too.
Totally knew that.
My phone buzzed 10 minutes after it.
Thanks, boss man. Appreciate you checking in with that news story. But anyways, the whole idea, pointing out that, it was The Athletic originally that wrote that story, but the original story pointed out that there was initially a request of a $100 million loan, but the MLB only allowed them to take 50. And we're talking about a team with a $287 million payroll, guys. This isn't somebody that's like not spending any money. They signed Xander Bogaerts. They signed Tatis to that huge extension. So fair or foul, after letting Bob Melvin go and hearing this news, shady things are happening behind the scenes of the San Diego Padres.
Well, I mean, I think it says something. You just signed a bunch of players because you just wanted to sign players. You didn't sign what you needed. You just signed players, and you let go of a top 3 manager in baseball. Now that Terry Francona's gone, maybe a top 2 manager in baseball. I mean, Bochy also just popped up and said, hey, guys, remember me? And Ron Washington might take the Houston Astros job, and he is going to pop up real high on that list for me. You know, who doesn't want to play a little bit? I like to play a little bit, if you know what I mean.
You like to party?
But yeah, I think I don't know about insider stuff, but don't look good down there. And if I'm Bob Melvin, I think he's going to be very happy in San Francisco.
Did you guys like the meme I sent in the...
That was very
I
funny.
did like the meme, but there was no upvote or downvote, so I didn't know what to do.
Yeah, we can't do that.
I'm a Reddit guy, so I don't know how to retweet or share or like or subscribe or what.
Or do the emails.
Yeah, so I just looked at it and said, good job. I was the kid on the computer meme that goes,
Yeah, this is, and I apologize, Jordan, for you having to repeat it, but whatever makes the Padres sound worse than this.
is the one you choose.
Yes.
Yeah, no, just fair or foul. There's shady things happening. This
100%. I agree with what Patrick
is
said.
weird story.
I mean, I think they're like, dude, just let's get the players and we'll figure it out later. Like, beginning of the year, we're like, they have 4 shortstops.
It's like the
what
Clippers
are
without an owner who started Microsoft, is what it is.
they- Yeah. And then that story of them taking out the loan was just like, wow, damn, really? Like,
Yeah.
it's that mismanaged and that bad? Like
Angel, Cashman is looking at the Steinbrenners going, hey, man, that ain't me. We good.
What that tells me is maybe Bob Melvin was asking for some stuff, and Preller and ownership came to him and were like, sorry, buddy, we don't got it.
Listen,
We're idiots.
I think if you're the Padres who haven't had success at all, really, since Tony Gwynn left, I don't see why you look at this team and be like, yeah, no, they're doing it right. They only lost their broadcasting deal as well, and it's controlled by the MLB, and they're asking for $50 million. And they're one of the least clutch teams of all time.
Can't wait to fade them so hard next
Bob
year.
Melvin, one of the best managers of our era. He's gone as well. They're clearly doing everything right there in San Diego.
Clearly. All right, that's Fair or Foul. We do it every single week at the bottom of the second hour. When we come back, we'll wrap this bad boy up. The Hot Corner. Today, the Fan.
The weather
are some of the most fun of this show. We'll talk about how the season went, give a slight, not preview, but just kind of a look forward, and just kind of talk about open-ended baseball stuff. And then we can talk about whatever we want.
We get awards.
We'll do awards.
We get hot stove.
hot stove.
We didn't even get to, we talked about the Padres, but they're about to hire a manager. The Brewers are going to get rid of Craig Counsell.
Yep.
They're letting him interview places. We've got 2 months before the end of the year, and when we take holiday break to talk about plenty of other stuff.
And we'll sneak in a little NFL. We'll sneak in a little
hell
college
yeah.
basketball. We'll sneak in a
Pac-12.
little NBA, Pac-12, college football. Like, we'll get it all for you guys. So stick around. We'll be back next week from 8 to 10, as it is the home of the Ducks. That's Joe Fisher. I'm Patrick Harris. Jordan Schultz behind the glass, 1080 The Fan. Go do something I would do.
It's King LASIK's biggest savings of the year. Through this month, save $1,500. Hey, it's Ryan Roland Smith. King LASIK was a game changer. My vision is awesome with no glasses or contacts. And the doctors at King LASIK are the most experienced in the Northwest, with over 250 procedures. Through this month, save $1,500 off LASIK, plus get 0% financing for 24 months OAC. So LASIK is just $167 a month. It's their biggest savings of the year. Schedule your free Zoom consult at kinglasik.com.
When people have a craving to explore new and traditional Asian cuisines, they head to P.F. Chang's, where scratch-made dishes come from the 2,000-year-old tradition of wok cooking. P.F. Chang's wanted to explore new possibilities for their website. They turned to AmericanEagle.com. AmericanEagle.com re-architected P.F. Chang's website, integrating multiple third-party systems to create a unified digital experience. The results? Improved page speed and performance, personalized content based on users' location, intuitive online ordering, an increase in organic search visibility, and a 40% increase in new users. For scratch-made Asian cuisine, visit your local P.F. Chang's or go to pfchangs.com for website design, development, digital marketing, and hosting that produce efficiency, revenue, and results. Visit AmericanEagle.com. P.F. Chang's and AmericanEagle.com. Another example of the best businesses in the world, turning to the best in the business for websites. Go to AmericanEagle.com or call 877-WEB-NOW1. That's 877-WEB-NOW1.
Save on stuff you really need and stuff you bought for fun. Stuff you've always really wanted this holiday at Amazon. Stuff that is discounted if you're naughty or you're nice. Stuff to buy your grandma who drinks her Chardonnay with ice. Stuff to make you big and strong. Stuff we can name in this song. Stuff for lawns and decking halls. Save big on stuff at Amazon.